4 get bumped to the back.
Yeah.
They go, why? They go, we want 8 around. Kennedy don't want to be crowded, bump 4 to the back. They keep blaming it on the dead president now later. So they take the bubble top off. Now, that's 2 things, right? Let's keep going. There's supposed to be 2 Secret Service guys standing under the left and right tail lights. They got welded things there that they step on, and they hold on like they got welded pieces on the tail lids, and they hold on to like things you would hold on to like if you're on a roller coaster.
Yes.
And it's welded. So they hold, and these are 2 tall agents who would obstruct the view from either the book depository or the Daltex building. Those 2 places, right? You come in, those 2 agents from behind would obstruct the view. They're told, we don't want you on the back of the limousine. They go, what? This is where we stand. We need to be close to the limo in case somebody comes to attack.
Who tells them that?
Secret Service. So you got Forrest Searles there's already. I don't believe he's part of it. Winston Lawson is the advanced man sent from Washington, and I'm going to get to the final culprit. So it's coming from Winston Lawson first.
It's not the guy who's still alive, right?
Winston Lawson just died a couple of years ago, and that's why
there's a guy who's alive. Can we Google Secret Service agent?
Oh, no, Clint Hill? No,
Yeah,
Clint
yeah.
Hill's legit. Clint Hill's a patriotic American. He's the guy who ran on the trunk. I don't believe the agents on the ground had any part of any type of culpability. They were completely innocent.
He seems like such a nice guy.
No, I don't believe the agents on the ground. I like Clint Hill. I thought Clint Hill, what he did was heroic. He tried to get it took balls to jump. You don't know how many bullets are coming at the president still, and he's trying to save the first lady. He gave the thumbs down to the other agents. He saw his brain matter all over the seat, and he goes thumbs down, meaning he's either dead or he's going to be.
Yep.
He gave the thumbs down. Clint Hill's a hero. The other agents there, even though they were a little groggy, they were a little hungover, I don't believe any of them had anything to do with it, and I'll tell you why. So the agents on the ground who were told get off the running steps, and Clint Hill was supposed to be one of them, they go, why? We don't understand this. It said it's coming from Washington. Okay. Now that this gets better. Now there's 4. So they call Washington. Let me jump ahead a little.
Keep jumping, Lou.
Yeah, they call Washington, and they go, okay, are we supposed to be off the running steps? That sounds weird to us. And he goes, yeah, not only that, the guy in Washington says, but don't crowd the president too much. He doesn't want to be too crowded on this trip. So they think that's a little weird too. So that one agent, Ron Pontius, hangs up, and the other agent, DeFreeze, goes to him, who were you just talking to? He goes, Gerald Bain. He goes, Gerald Bain? Gerald Bain's on vacation. He goes, no. At the last minute, he was going to take a vacation, but then he decided to come into work, and he's working out of the East Wing, and he's commanding the whole thing from the East Wing.
Oh, conveniently.
Oh, conveniently? Yeah. He hadn't left Kennedy's side since day 1. Talk about conveniently. I mean, you just said the word of the century. He hasn't left Kennedy's side. He's always in the right front passenger seat in front of Kennedy for every motorcade. All of a sudden, he goes in the most dangerous trip Kennedy's ever taken because they just beat the shit out of Adelaide Stevenson before Kennedy went there. Everybody's telling Kennedy. I list a dozen people in my book. They're all telling Kennedy, don't go to Dallas. It's too dangerous. There's too many extremists there that want to kill you. We don't want you in Dallas. Stay away from there. So Kennedy's going, no, I got to go anyway. But at the very least, the head of the Secret Service, Gerald Bain, who's never left Kennedy's side, decides this is the time he's going to take a vacation. And not only that, he takes the vacation, and then he suddenly decides, second thought, I'm not going on vacation.
I'm going to go into work.
I'm going to go into work, and I'm going to call the shots from the East Wing, where it's kind of safe, where it's very safe. So let me go through the rest of the little changes that Gerald Bain made, dictating them to Winston Lawson on the ground in Dallas.
This feels like a Kennedy rap
It
song
gets better. It gets better. Listen to this, Julian. There's 8 motorcycle cops supposed to be surrounding the limousine, right? 8 motorcycle cops.
Let me guess, they didn't.
4 get bumped to the back.
Yeah.
They go, why? They go, we want 8 around. Kennedy don't want to be crowded, bump 4 to the back. They keep blaming it on the dead president now later. Kennedy said this, Kennedy didn't want to be. He's dead. He can't defend himself. So now they bump the 4 cops to the back. Then you said nobody's filming, right? Nobody, tried the Bush lady in the Zapruder film. You mentioned, well, who would be? You got a press vehicle 2 cars back. They bumped the press vehicle, a whole load of guys who know how to snap pictures. They bumped them all the way to the back of the line, and they're scratching their head going, why are we being bumped to the line? We would never bump to the back of the line. We want to be near the president. Sorry, bump to the back. So now the press vehicle, 4 motorcycle cops to the back, press vehicle to the back. They're pulling people away from Kennedy. The 2 tall Secret Service agents who would obstruct the view pulled off the bumper. The bubble top pulled off. The last minute turn onto Elm Street. There's no security detail in the kill zone. Take a look. No more Secret Service agents, no cops. That stopped before the turn. And the cops were told to have their backs to the crowd. They go, what good is it to have our backs to the crowd? We want to look at the crowd. Nobody scoured the buildings in the kill zone. He's drawn into a canyon of buildings and nobody went through the book depository. Secret Service, the first thing they're supposed to do is make sure you go through the book depository in the Dell Tex. He's got a canyon of buildings he's in the midst of before he gets on the Stemmons Freeway.
Anything except a sloped roof.
All these decisions, if they're not made...
He didn't, that didn't...
Oh, anything but a sloped roof, right. And that's what comes, so here, listen to this. So I finished this book. Months before I turned it into the publisher. Months before.
July 13th.
That's what the assassination attempt?
Yeah.
And I'm telling everybody I know, if something happens to Trump, watch the Secret Service, not the guys on the ground, I said, and women, very heroic men and women, whether they botched up, they didn't act fast enough, they were heroic. They surrounded him. Mm-hmm. They tried. They should have pushed him down a little. Whatever they should have did, you could criticize them. I'm okay with criticizing people. People criticize me. That's fine. But they were heroic. In the end, they dragged him, and I don't believe they had anything to do with any of if there was a conspiracy. Washington. Look for Washington, I was saying to people, the Secret Service in Washington. And then I found out that they were denying him extra. He was begging for it. And they kept denying him. Then I found out they didn't do the perimeter, secure it correctly. Then I found out there were no agents outside the perimeter. Then I found out the guy had a rangefinder and he's walking around. And, there's too many mistakes. And I've been telling people for months since I handed this in. I'm the first person to dump the whole thing at the end saying the mob, the Cuban exiles, whoever you want to say were on the ground, I'm with it. I paint a great picture of that. But they couldn't have done it without the Secret Service making all of these last-minute changes. So now let's say, okay, what happened? Well, Winston Lawson got canned, never got a job again, and Gerald Bean was on unemployment for the rest of his life. Bullshit. Winston Lawson got a cushy job with the Department of Defense, and he said, I'm the only president, I'm the only guy who cost the president his life. Wow, I'm doing pretty good. And Gerald Bain was trusted enough by Lyndon Johnson to be the head of his security detail. Would you have trusted Gerald Bain after that?
Nope.
Would you have said, look, let's get rid of Gerald Bain. First things first. I'm not going out in public with this guy.
Yep.
Unless you kind of know that he'll protect you. He may not have protected him, but don't worry, you're
Just
good.
don't talk to Khrushchev, you're fine.
Something's up. Something's up. And look for that in the document dump too. Look for that. And get that to President Trump and tell President Trump, if anybody's listening, somebody in his administration, tell Trump to dig deep for what happened with the Secret Service and Kennedy, because everyone's giving them a free pass.
If it's there.
But you just those series of events are too coincidental for me when you add up how many. Look, if you know the old thing, everything's an odds game. If somebody accidentally hits your car this morning, it's an accident. If that same person then throws a rock at your head, maybe he missed, he was throwing it at something else. If the next person, then he takes how many things?
That's right.
Before you say, okay, this guy wants to kill me.
That's what I'm saying. The whole thing with Kennedy, start to finish.
Before
the build-up, the immediate build-up, the day, the pulling people off of security, changing your circumstances. Okay. It's all. I got another first for you. First on Julian Dorey. Ready for this one? Exclusive.
Yeah. It's dead serious. Breaking news. Check this out. Oswald, Chief Jesse Curry of the Dallas Police, I feel was one of the honest policemen there. The force was corrupt. It came out later. Guys said we were all corrupt. The money was floating around like you can't imagine. They did a lot of stuff that they shouldn't have did before and after the assassination. We could go into that another day. There's a lot going on there with the Texas police. But I believe that Chief Jesse Curry was an honest cop. Curry wants to move Oswald from police headquarters to the county jail in the dead of night in secret. He's told a call comes from Washington saying he needs to be shown to the public. And that's why Ruby gets the shot at Oswald. God. Okay? And Curry's so twisted about this later that he writes in a book, I didn't make that decision. The call came from Washington. So Oswald, why do the people in Washington need to show Oswald to the public? Oswald gets transferred. He's still alive. They needed to kill Oswald, and that came from Washington. So the mob had help. The mob's doing the groundwork, the dirty work.
Of course. I've never thought it was just the mob or something.
And just as they were underwriting the Cuban exiles after the government defunded them, I feel like they underwrote the entire conspiracy on the ground. $1 billion a year Marcelo's doing. What's a few million? What's a few million to him to get the Kennedys out of the way? And then he knows, too, who he's working with, and he knows the investigation ain't going nowhere. You're in bed with the CIA and the FBI. How far is the investigation going to go? He knows he's in the clear.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.